All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first live edition of The Basement Marketer. The one episode that we've done before has been fully recorded, so this live environment is brand new to us. And I see Amber is up on the stage now. She's muted at the moment, says she's connected. So we're going to have a couple of hiccups. I'll just warn you guys ahead of time.
I'm in here.
Hey, look at you. Awesome. So yeah, this is our very first live, like as in podcast, to do it this way. Obviously, when we have other channels that we do on YouTube and things like that, but Podbean is kind of a new environment for us. So thanks for joining, number one. And second,
of course,
apologies in advance ahead of time, because there's bound to be something that screws up in a live environment. That's just the way it goes.
I was like, okay, I've never used it before. Let's go for it. Why not?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It looks like Megan is in here. Is that Megan that's on there? I think Megan, me. Yeah, I think that's Megan. Yay, Megan's here. That's pretty fast.
Woo, it's working. Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Hey, I kind of want to give people a little, not that there's anyone here to listen besides the three of us at the moment.
That's totally okay, because I know you welcomed me to the wrong one, and I'm like, this is the Basement Marketer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, this is the right one. This is the right
one.
Yeah,
you did a chat that was like, welcome to the Hubcast, which is what a Basement Marketer made happen, was Cyber Social Hub as well. So.
Oh, yeah. No, it absolutely did. Is that what I said in the intro?
Yeah.
Let's have it.
It's all good. It totally happens.
We have the daily show that I try to do when I kick a quick 5-minute one out every day on the other channel, and that must have just screwed it up. Oh, wow.
It's all good.
So tomorrow you're going to be joining us here too, and it's a test session. So if anyone wants to join, it's fine. We'll actually be going live doing it. We're testing out a new trivia thing to catch the time delay.
I am stoked, because you know my deep love of trivia.
That's why we invited you to it. We were all sitting around talking about it this morning, and we're like, Amber would love this. We'll kick her an invite. I don't know if she's available, but hey, we'll make it available.
I actually moved stuff to be available because it mattered that much. I'm like, I want to have fun on Friday, and that's what I want to do. I want to play some trivia.
Oh, that's so great. That's great. So I saw Megan in here too. So we can test kind of that audio delay and stuff.
Oh, good.
A little bit. So Megan, when you just type anything, I don't care what it is that you type, and then I'll tell you the second I see it. That way you can get an idea of when you hit enter, I will say, yes, I see it. So anytime you
don't you dare type, you're going to beat me in trivia. Sorry, I had to say that. A long rival going with Megan.
I was what was I was talking to, we hired a new sales associate there. Nito, you just saw it, Megan, there, how quick it was. I wanted to make sure I caught that. And I was telling him about the last time we had all played trivia. And I said, well, I may have cheated on a question.
It's the only reason you won. Let's be serious.
I said, she's going to say exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm. It is. I'm still bitter about it because I play the Cyber Social Hub trivia, and I'm like, some of the questions, I'm like, that was poorly phrased. I think it should be tossed. Little stuff.
Yeah.
Highly competitive.
I think it was that one question that I didn't have my screen closed enough where I could see the answer when it came up. And I was like, I already know it. It's kind of like I have to answer this way now. So that was our reasoning there.
All good. All good.
Yeah.
There's always another match.
Yeah. So Megan, you said that was like almost immediate when it came up. That's pretty awesome. So cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I am going to. There was a button here that was to share this out with people, and now hooray! So I'm trying to comment when she makes a statement here so she knows right away where it's at on the timeline. I lost it. It was there was a link that was in here just before I hit the live button. Oh, there it is. It's in the upper. I'm on this web interface and I haven't used it before. So I'm going to push this episode out on, I think, LinkedIn right now, just so
cool.
just so we can maybe grab a couple people out there here. Hold on, if I can do this. This is so much different than the environment I'm working in. I'm used to working
Yeah,
in.
it's the first time I've done one of these where I had to use my phone to call in, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, so you're actually on your phone.
I'm on my phone.
Okay.
I had to make sure I had a headset that was working with my phone. But yeah,
Okay, because I'm on the web interface, which obviously for broadcasting that's great. But there's an iPad version I know of this, and of course
nice.
I usually listen to podcasts. I've got so addicted to these. There's a great community on here that when I first started learning Podbean specifically, I was just jumping into random shows. And there's this show. Maybe somebody you know by the name of Greg would want to listen to it. It's called The Old Man Show.
Oh, I'm sure because that's the joke. I should have multiple people that I know would want to listen to it.
And it's this I can't remember his first name now, and I feel terrible for it. But they were such an inviting community. They invited me, and they actually had me live on their show, and I was just testing out and playing around. Just said, "Hey, we're trying to figure this out for our own stuff." And they were just answering any question I had live during this show, and it was great. Such a great community. It was like, you know what it reminded me of? When I was a kid, the old CB radio days where you just jump on the CB and just start randomly talking to strangers. That's what it was like. Completely like that. No one. I grew up very poor, so that was like the coolest thing. That was pre-internet chat rooms, right? I think we lost Amber. Did we lose you? It got really quiet. Either she accidentally muted, or
No. Oh,
there you go.
okay. So
All right.
that's a side effect. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. What happened?
Oh, so it was my phone going and the screensaver going on. So note when you call in from your phone, you got to hold your finger on the screen to keep it live.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. See, this is the learning.
It
It's part of
is
life.
learning curve. That's
hmm
interesting. You'd think they would have a keep awake feature built
option in
into
here. Yeah. If the
Podbean.
Podbean people are listening,
Yeah,
they should do that.
and it might be just me not realizing that we had to do that too. Um,
But
yeah.
yes, I used the same CB radio. My dad had one in his car, and I would get to do it when we were on the road and like report an accident. And I'm like, breaker, accident at this one. And I just repeat. And I just felt so special. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's weird talking to strangers, but I mean, we do it all the time now.
Isn't that the case every time?
I mean, now we just, because you give a lot of webinars, you give a lot of talks out there, and it's just something we don't even think twice about now. We just like,
No,
like you teach your kids, don't talk to strangers, yet we do it every day in our life. So
true. Nope. And eventually strangers become friends. It's what it is. I know I felt like I was doing like a public service announcement with that, but totally the case.
So Megan also says that there's some, maybe Megan, you can hear some of our sound notifications, my sound specifically notifications coming through. Could you hear when you just slacked me? Is that one of the things that that you heard as well? We'll wait for her response on that. She's fiercely typing away. I do want to get to the topic at hand.
Yeah, I know. We have to talk about culture. We're being cultured.
Yeah. I'm looking for. I lost my my LinkedIn. There it is. All right, I'm adding you in this too. All right. So other people can join our chaos here. There we go.
Oh, nice.
All right, out it went on LinkedIn. So
well, I do feel that running any business is chaos.
yeah. So she heard the message ding. Okay. Oh, cool stuff. Awesome. Well, let's talk about that because, I put in the description because we talked a little bit. What was that yesterday? We just decided to do this.
Yeah, it was spontaneous. It was all good.
Yeah. And I talked a little bit about, obviously we've all had some woes in the corporate world that we worked in pre what we're doing now. I had my woes, you had your woes, and it's funny that all the years I've known you, I don't know that we actually had the conversation of that's why we formed the environments we formed now in our companies because of the bad experience.
I don't think that was.
Yeah. No, it's funny that we'd say that. And so I guess let's preface this a little bit with the fact that, I've worked in corporate and I've worked a couple other jobs in government,
Sure.
but not other real corporate stuff. And I'm not cut out. Maybe I had a bad experiences, but regardless, I don't think it was a healthy environment, really. And I'm not going to go all tree hugger on everybody, but that's not the environment I ever wanted to work in. And then when I started my own company, I said that is definitely not the environment we're going to have here, and that's the way it is, and that's kind of how it started out. What about you? What were your experiences? Obviously don't want to get specific of who I was talking
Right.
about, but
But no, I worked in a variety of jobs. I've been working in the industry since I was a teenager. The industry I have a business in, and I worked at other ones. I worked in a warehouse. I did all these different things. And it was interesting to see the large corporate culture in a warehouse situation, which I don't even know if it's appropriate anymore. Someone's going to bash me on this, but with like the blue collar environment, because I don't know what else to call it, as a laborer, they were fantastic to me. Like corporate culture was amazing. They didn't call it gamification, but they had like gamification incentives. They appreciated you. They randomly said it's cookies at break today, stuff like that. But every day the supervisor would talk to each individual, say, "Hey, you're doing great at this," or "Hey, you need to improve on this." And I thought that was fantastic. But that was because I was in a labor oriented corporate environment, and they were a huge corporation.
mm-hmm.
When I went into a technology corporate environment, it was not the same way. As that company grew, they honestly just didn't care. I became just a cog in the machine, and I had helped them grow. And at the end of the day, they had brought in some consultants, and they're like, "Oh, well, you have to have these components to fulfill this corporate look, so to speak. Like, oh, if you don't have this, this, and this, you're not corporate enough, so you're not valuable." And it changed the culture. And I think it was such a mistake. I chose not to do that in my own company. I'm with you. I said, screw
Oh,
that. I don't love that.
the
I hated
dreaded
that.
corporate look. I
Yeah,
love the way
there's
that you
like,
phrased that. That's great.
there is a look. And honestly, honestly, as a woman, they were like, "You are not part of our management look." And they booted me out the door.
No
And
kidding.
not even kidding. And I was like, I was actually told that was one of the reasons they ended up letting me go. And I was like, that is bizarre, because all I could think of is I was nice, I was professional, I did my job really well. I worked a lot of hours. Like I worked an insane number of hours for them because I believed in what they were.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, "Nope, you're just not part of this culture." And I'm like,
Hey, Megan's got your back down there in chat too. She's
yeah.
like, "How dare they do
Well,
that to her?"
thank you, Megan. Yeah, no, it's just, but I was surprised that that existed. And honestly, it still does exist.
Yeah. Yep. I worked for maybe, yeah, I won't go into details. People will be able to put the dots together, but yeah, a company just like that where they get treated as a number or
Yeah.
a revenue source and not an actual human being. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that all people are that way, or
No,
all
and
companies, because I hear some good things sometimes about companies out there. I just have personally not experienced them.
I do think the general corporate culture to say that your company is successful and it's grown, you end up being a number. It's like they can't function without you being a number, instead of being like, "No, I'm Amber. I'm the person that was employee number 8," or whatever it may be. "And I've supported you, and I have a family, and I love dogs." And to have someone, not just an HR department, but to actually have them care about you is such a phenomenon that I don't think you see in the large corporations as much. And it is a corporate culture choice. You and I both own businesses. We make a choice. That was actually part of my mission statement when I started my company, is I made a choice what our culture would be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is. I think it's something that needs set out from the start as well. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've not been a CEO at some massive company before, but I think once a culture is embedded, it's it's probably really hard to change because it's just all the way through the leadership roles, and then it's embedded into, hey, this is maybe the employees are used to being treated a certain way. So maybe that's kind of the way they're just used to it, and that naturally falls into that. And it's funny, my wife has a saying: we teach people how to treat us. She's always telling my kids this at school.
Oh, that's a good phrase. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually is. And she's telling my daughters that, and it's actually really great advice. And whether you're just a regular old person walking around, or you're an employee at a company, we do teach people how to teach us or treat us.
Yeah.
And we say whether what's acceptable and what's not.
And I think that is where I think people have to be making decisions. It's not just about a salary. It's how you're treated there. It was funny. I was watching a show randomly on TV, and it's because they had bison, and I really like bison. And he said, if you're here for a paycheck, then you're at the wrong company. And I think all of us get so focused on when you're looking for a job, different things like that. They're always looking for a paycheck. And I understand that. You've got to make money to live a life, feed your family, all of those different things. Mm-hmm. But you can only live so long on that paycheck before the culture of a company can actually crush your soul. If that makes any sense. Like, it literally becomes soul crushing. That it's like, I can't imagine working for, and I will not name this bank, but my old business bank, they were horrible. It was just like, you are not nice people here. It's like fees on top of fees. I'm like, did I get a fee for walking through the door? I just start feeling like I am absolutely nothing to you, so on and so forth. And I had a friend who started working there. In the corporate structure, in the cybersecurity side of things. And they're like, I have never just felt so slimy and dirty doing my job. And I was like, don't stay. I said, you've got to feel good with what you're working through every day. If you don't, out. Leave.
Yep. No, exactly. 100%. 100%. And what do you think it takes to, obviously we've already touched on, like, hey, we've made a choice that this is what the corporate is going to be. But what do you think else it takes within a company to keep and maintain a good culture? Keep people happy and valued.
For me, I always have this phrase with my kids, which is that all the little stuff you do, that's what actually adds up to the big stuff. And it can be the simplest things, such as every year for holidays at the end of the year, I send handwritten cards to all of my staff, just appreciating them and how grateful I am for all the work they've done throughout the year. That's a little thing, because it's an individual acknowledgement of what they're doing. I think a lot of the culture is built off of management remembering to acknowledge those little things. And not just, oh, hey, you made this gargantuan sale. Good job. No, we need those little things week by week. Like, that was a fantastic demonstration, or that was a really good idea for a funnel, whatever it may be. Those little acknowledgments, I think, are what your culture is built off of. And they should be personalized. It's not about acknowledging an entire team together. It's acknowledging each person in that team. That's how I have built my culture. Everyone gets acknowledged for their good ideas they give every day. You don't run a company by yourself. Goodness, no.
No, that is the truth. Oh my goodness, if I had to do it by myself. And it's funny.
Wretched.
Yeah, it's funny. You're getting a little feedback from your mic, or I don't know how your mic is situated.
I don't know. Yeah, I will have to move my phone. Let me try that.
Yeah. Yeah, because see, I'm a nerd here. Mine's through my mixer board here.
Yeah, you are super nerd. I plugged it in. I felt I was being fancy.
Yeah, when I'm on my iPad, when I've been in guests on other shows, I join via the iPad typically. And
there you go. You and your Apple love.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I know it. Right, I can plug that directly into my mixer board as well, so it gets the good sound. So I'm kind of digging the setup. This is taking me back to my radio days, where I really don't have to worry about looking at the camera all the time, and I don't have to do my hair. I don't even have to. Heck, I could be wearing a ripped up T-shirt right now. No one knows. I like it.
I'm admittedly wearing pajama pants, so I totally get it.
Right.
Sometimes that's just the kind of day you're having, and you want to wear pajama pants.
Yep.
Hopefully that fixed a little bit of the feedback.
Yeah, I'm not hearing
Okay.
quite as much. But I do want to slide back to what you had touched on with building the culture, showing appreciation, and not running the company by yourself, which is true.
Mm.
Obviously, in the beginning days, we were wearing many, many hats, and I think I possibly wear more hats now than than I did in the early days. But
Yeah,
in that, everybody sees Megan hiding in the room here. Megan is basically the right hand. Really, she's the right and left hand of
I
the
feel she's
company.
like your first officer. She's your will wrecker.
She is. I don't know. I don't know what I do without Megan. She makes sure the crap gets done. I am the more of the visionary type of person. Come up with the ideas, and we can build the ideas a little bit. She is the one that's making sure stuff gets done. Megan, I hope I give you enough appreciation in that and reminding you of that often. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate you. I want you to know that. So there you go.
I appreciate Megan too, because I work with her when your company does work with my company, and she's fantastic.
She is.
I absolutely love that. I have I'm my Will Riker too, because obviously I'm a Star Trek fan. And Alicia is fantastic. I don't know what I would do without her. Um, and it's more than just the fact that she's an amazing employee and she has some great ideas and all of that. Um, it's that she also chose to see me as her boss, but as a real person. I know that sounds really silly, but sometimes it's hard to transfer those two visions between one another, and that's uh, when you're not the owner of the company. That's the staff's position on the culture that comes back.
Yep.
And it makes a difference. I broke my ankle in January, and I haven't been able to
Technically,
walk
the
since.
ice broke your ankle,
The
really.
ice did. Yes,
Boy,
me falling on the
yeah,
ice. I did an
yeah,
epic break. I broke 4 bones, and it's a mess in there. I still can't walk.
yeah. I just didn't want people to
And
have a vision of you grabbing a hammer and
oh
breaking
yeah, no,
your
I'm
ankle.
not taking a hammer to it, because trust me, I never want this to happen again. It's freaking awful. Um, but I called her as I was being driven to the emergency room, and she picked up everything. And that's part of it. Obviously, a staff member doesn't have to do that. They'd be like, whatever, because it was early. And she still picked up. She still took care of everything. She even called some of my personal things, just because she's such a great person and she sees me as that I'm a person too. She shows compassion. I'm not just her boss. I'm not any of this. I'm a real person. And I know people don't always think of it that way.
No, they don't. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't want to get into any really long stories about it at my past corporate experiences, but they do see you as, hey, this is your role. This is what you should be doing. I don't care about, and I actually know people that own businesses that have this philosophy, is that they just want to know them as a producer. This is what you do
Yep.
in the company. And I don't even want to know your wife's name or your husband's name or your partner's,
Yeah.
whatever.
Or
They
do
don't
you have
care.
kids or dogs or cats or llamas? Whatever it may be. Yeah. And I know that's a choice. Um, I don't want to run a business like that, because that ruins part of the joy that comes from running your own business.
Yep.
I think there's that other side of it. You could probably make more money that way, but life isn't all about, how much money you're making with it.
No, it's exactly it. And well, this is another episode we have coming up probably next month sometime. We're going to talk about that issue right there. And you're still
Huh?
getting a little wind air noise, I think, on your mic there. Um, Amber, I just want to let you know that,
Okay.
in case, people start tipping you on here for the breathing in the ears type thing, not that that's going to happen.
I think it's actually my ceiling fan. I know that sounds silly. It's a
Oh,
whole
it
new
could be.
setup. Yeah, I just moved back again, and I think it's my ceiling fan.
I know. I'm so excited. You got your house. I don't want to go too far off on a tangent away from the topic, but you're in a house now, which is awesome.
And necessary when you break your ankle.
Yes, pretty much. Because yeah. Anyway, I get it. Um, so treating people like actual human beings and truly caring. It's not, because obviously, I don't know if you've had a supervisor before or know people that you see, and people can just know if you're faking it, right? They just, I mean, don't fake it. It comes from a place of you have to be genuine, right? That you really care for people. Like every person at my company, I personally care for. Now, I try not to dig too deep into their personal lives. Obviously, there's that boundary that, you wait till they're comfortable and they want to talk about things. But, I want to make sure that they're taken care of. I want to make sure, hey, are you making enough money? Are you happy? What don't you like? I think we just did, Megan, we just did this. I think it was just a couple weeks ago. I had Megan and Abby both list out the things that they do in their day-to-day roles. And I said, okay, pick which ones. I think I said, I can't remember which way. It was either pick the ones you like or pick the ones you don't like. Um, and it is either way. And I would look at those other ones and see, can we bring someone on to take these off of your plate? Now, granted, there's a lot of things I don't like to do. It was highlight the ones we like, Megan said. So, okay, there we go. And that's again, me looking out for them. It's like, okay, they don't like doing this. There's nothing, unfortunately, that one's got to stay. I can't do nothing about that one right now. If I could say, hey, I don't want to do anything to do with finance anymore, that would be great because I hate that. But that's one of the things that, unfortunately, well, all too well that we just have to do it. And I
Yeah.
think it's a lot of management is not thinking about their employees enough.
I don't think they're asking for that level of feedback. It's just, this is the job, these are the requirements of the job. I don't give a crap if you want to do them or not. And I don't think that necessarily breeds the best culture, especially a multi-generational culture. I don't know, I think I have 5 generations of staff, like in different generational age groups. And it's not the same thing for every one of them. Because you have to look at it, for my boomer staff, I have to give feedback a different way. I have to adjust for different things because of where they are and how they see what work means to them. Because that has a lot to do with your generation. Same with our Gen X versus Gen Z versus millennial. All of that you get a different perspective on. And you have to, I guess, be dynamic. That's part of a culture.
But yeah, I don't try to claim well, luckily I'm still immature at heart, so I can get the younger generation quite a bit. So it's not that hard, but most of my staff is 30s and under right now. Oh yeah, actually the majority of the staff are actually in their 20s right now.
Yeah, you got a Gen Z workforce.
I know. I'm like, oh, I really am an old guy now at this point. Yeah. No, that's the way it is. But I think, and it's funny, we're going through hiring, right? We're hiring salespeople. We just brought Garrison on, and he's phenomenal. He's been with us now two weeks, just phenomenal. I love him to death, but he's young. I don't want to give lay ages. I don't know HR rules. That's part of having a small company, I guess. But he's a young guy, and we did a group interview where, and this might bring some insight into even some people hanging out here listening, is that we did a group interview. So we set this up, and I think it was 40 to 50 people show up on a Zoom call to learn about the position. So how we saw this and how we were advised to look at this was that, hey, you're pitching them the job. Now, when I used to search for jobs, that was not the case. You were trying to pitch yourself to the person to hire you, right, to the company. And now the approach is, now I have, in all full transparency, I'll even get a shout out to Ryan at SRU, which is Sales Recruitment University. Phenomenal. We brought these guys on to help us through this process because we didn't have the best of luck in the past trying to hire sales folks.
Oh, it's so hard. Sales is probably one of the hardest positions, I think, to hire for.
Yeah. And these guys helped us out so much, and they're still helping us. We're still involved in this program. We're not even close to being done, but through this process, they've taught us that, hey, you have to pitch the job to the people. There's so many opportunities out there that, you have to show that your company's great. So that's what I did. I jumped on a group Zoom call and told everybody, hey, this is all our culture, and I told them my personal morals and ethics and what I had done in my past. And so they learned about me. I talked about my kids. I talked about my wife. It was all personal. Very little was around the job itself, what the position was. And they said, the sales recruiting company said, expect, if you got 40 people in there, you might get 6 people wanting to talk to you one-on-one. And I was like, okay, all right, I get it. 6 is okay, a good number. Most people get 4 out of that. We had 22 people out of that book calls with us to get a one-on-one interview. That was a huge mistake. I put my calendar link in the room. That was the biggest mistake ever. I won't do that again, because it literally, Ask Megan, I was stressed for 2 weeks solid, actually 2.5 weeks before we got all of those interviews done. We found some phenomenal people. We're going to be bringing them on here real soon. But I asked them, and then we had one-on-ones. Again, I don't want to take too much time here, but I had one-on-one interviews. My first question that I asked, I said, hey, what about that group interview made you interested in the sales position? What made it was, because we did talk money, compensation, obviously.
Sure.
We talked a few other things. Every single person led with, we love the fact that, number one, you named the company after your kids. And number 2, that you're so family oriented and you consider your staff family. Those are the only 2 answers I got out of all 22. Everyone.
That does not surprise me. I think people are tired of just being numbers. I think even more so, honestly, I think this is a larger side effect post-pandemic, that people want to belong with something. We felt so isolated, and it was a lonely period of history. I don't know. And it feels good to be part of something, part of a culture, part of an extended family, because there was a lot of loss.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I want to take a real quick second to thank Eric for popping in. Remember, I was talking early when we first started the show, that community I jumped in to kind of learn about the podcast. Eric is a part of that community. And I jumped in the Old Man podcast. I'm going to make sure I get the name right. If I'm not, Eric, I apologize in advance if that's what it was. And obviously, Miss Dixie's also over there as well. And I see them popping into this show. So thank you guys. So yeah, the Old Man's podcast. That's the one I was telling you about, Amber.
That is fantastic. If a woman made a podcast called the Old Lady Podcast, we would not feel the same way.
I think
we just wouldn't.
We're like, whatever. It's cool.
I'm not ready to embrace it yet. So.
Right. No, it's a great podcast. I highly recommend it. I go in there and just listen. I haven't been in for a week or so because we've been going through the sales process, and it's literally had every single time, a minute of my time kind of sucked up. Unfortunately, Miss Dixie agrees with you, by the way, as well.
I think every woman agrees with me, but I'm with you, Miss Dixie. It's like, it's the same. It's that the misbalanced universe that says a man ages so gracefully and becomes more handsome, and a woman has to fight that. I'm like, I know this is totally off topic. I think it's because women have to suffer through things like menopause. That's it. I'm going to say it. That's the end. It's like to drop the mic. It's totally unfair.
Obviously, all the women are agreeing with you. So
I know your readership just went up with women because they totally agree with that.
I can't even possibly relate to that. So I'll just have to say yes. I know at what moment it says. I just shake my head and say, yes, that's correct. Because
your wife has trained you well.
That's exactly right. I think personally, Grant, I met my wife when she was 19 and turned 20. So we've been together for, oh my gosh, quite a while.
Forever.
Yeah. We've been married now. We're in the 16th year this year of marriage. Wow. I guess she's 13 years younger than me. All right. But I think
he had a hard time admitting that. You felt that.
Well, I'll tell you some stories. I keep going way off topic on what the topic's supposed to be. It's just typical me and us. Well, when I think it's you, I want to blame you.
I think I have a problem. It's the ADD. But you know what? This is somewhat on topic, because when you run your own business and you pick that culture, it also affects your spouse. They have to agree with the culture that you adopt, because running your own business, your spouse is always involved in some way.
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
like they can't help it. It's like, hi, it's like you're giving him glitter. You're just stuck with it for the rest of your life. I just rubbed you down with glitter, and you're always going to have a little bit of sparkle that happens to be in my corporate colors. You'll be fine.
I could go really bad. We won't go that other direction. Oh, mercy. No. So my wife was very much involved in the process, even though none of the candidates met her. I talk about them and, say, what are your thoughts on this? And there's a couple candidates she'd go onto the LinkedIn and look them up and she'd be like, yeah, I don't know if they're a good fit culturally. Because that's the first thing we look at. I don't even look at, hey, did you do sales before? I look at, do they have drive? Can they do the job? Right? Are they willing to learn the job? And are they a culture fit?
Yeah.
Because that's important. I made that mistake and in the past, and it definitely wasn't the case. So our business, I have a primary business is a marketing company. Hence the name. I think it's on this one. Again, I'm still trying to figure the podcast thing out. This is our first live one, so I appreciate everybody.
I know. I can't figure out how to like people's stuff. Just so you know, I totally liked it all.
Oh, so you can. I figured out how to add them. Eric's the master. So if you have questions,
yeah, I'm like, there's little hearts you can put next to comments, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm like throwing shade because I can't put a heart. I can't figure it out in the little interface.
Yeah,
but hearts to you guys.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it either. We'll figure it out at some point. Because I'm on the web interface. I know it's different. When I join the shows from my phone or from my iPad, the heart is in the lower right corner, right next to the chat.
That gives it to the show. Yeah, like boop.
Yeah,
but not to the people. I'm on the phone for joining. Next time I would join through my computer, but my business is a digital forensic technology company. So I was stupid and went into software development, which is like the most expensive choice you can do. So fantastic way to start a business.
Yeah. I don't know if I finished answering mine. I own a digital marketing agency is the primary company. And then we have two products for that on that side. We have one that's called Cyber Social Hub, which has its separate podcast on that. And then I have a brand new side of it called Reach Penguin, which it's a piece of software that handles CRMs and marketing software for companies that makes the competitors look horrible and way overpriced.
It really does. I am a Reach Penguin. I am a Reach Penguin user. And let me tell you, I have gone through probably, I don't know, and I'm celebrating my 25th anniversary of my company this year. And I think I've gone through probably 25 plus different CRMs because some don't even make it a whole year. One year I changed, I think 4 times and my staff hated me. I'm like, I just don't like it yet. I don't like it yet. But I think I've been on Reach Penguin for 2 years. So that's pretty big, maybe longer. And we love it because it's a single platform everyone logs into, and my OCD, it feels the jam in there. Because like everyone has a process they put stuff into. I'll have to look around for it. We can leave comments for each other. It's fantastic. So I love that side of it. And it makes it so you don't have to have a gargantuan team either. A lot of the technology does the heavy lifting, which is what you want in a good CRM.
Does. I don't want to do a sales pitch on it, but oh my goodness.
No, I kind of sales pitched for you, I think, a little bit there. That and it has penguin in the name, and I love penguins. So I was like, oh, that's a win. I can look at a penguin every day.
That's the hardest hardest way to start a company is I can never think of a good name, right?
I know, coming up with a name.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Is the name. But
I had to find something that had a domain name because it was back when it was just I feel like I'm old now. Back when the World Wide Web was just getting a kickoff, I had to come up with a company name that there was still a domain for because there were so many squatters.
Yeah, the .com was the only thing that existed, right?
I know, that's it. So finding one and you're like, I own that, and then getting a registered trademark on it. Those were some of my initial startup costs.
Right.
Was that.
Hey, also real quick, I want to throw this out. If you guys have business marketing questions, just random things, whatever you want to know about, feel free to ask at any point. We will try our best to answer them. We can answer on our own experiences in life. But here's our legal disclaimer. By no means is it ever legal advice or the best way you could possibly go about something. So there you go. Don't sue us, please. That's what that means.
I agree. Don't sue us, please. It's really just opinion. But man, I have lived through every up and down and failure on the planet. Through 25 years, let me tell you, there are things that I'm like, I even had that quintessential moment that I had a staff member throw a stapler at me. And I was like, holy crap, I'm in a TV show. That doesn't happen in real life. And I was like, did you just throw a stapler at me? And they're like, I did, but I regret it now. I'm like, you're going to have to regret that because I don't think we're going to stay together. We're breaking up.
Oh my goodness, is that like an episode of The Office or something?
It, and it was a swing line stapler. So it was kind of, I'm serious. It wasn't red though.
That's what I'm holding. I can even click. I'm used to the visual references of YouTube. This is my red, and this is the only reason I bought this. The red Schwingline stapler from Office Space, the movie. Where he's going like, this is my stapler.
My stapler.
My stapler. Yeah.
Yes. I had another employee who wrote their name on everything, even though it belonged to the office. So now I still use, I use Emily's tape dispenser, but it was mine. It was corporate property. It has her name written on it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Weird things from owning a company. That's what you got. Weird things.
Right on. And that's just, and a lot of the corporate culture is that we have a lot of, I have a lot of fun. I'm hoping my staff, Megan's in here. She'll answer me honest. I can always rely on that. She's kind of she just says it how it is most days. And we have a lot of fun. And like every day, obviously our morning meetings, I meet with the marketing staff every morning, to just talk about various projects we're doing for clients, where we're at, how we're performing here and there. And Fridays, specifically on Fridays, we talk. And so we have like strategy meetings on Thursdays and Wednesdays for certain branches or products, but Fridays are reserved. We talk about quickly any challenges we had from the day prior, what we have coming up today. And then Fridays are reserved for our personal goals and our private goals, whether they want to share them or not, right? Like when Abby came on, she said a crazy goal. I'm going to talk about Abby a little bit. I don't think she's in here. No, she didn't make it in here. And she said, I'm going to read, Megan, I don't know how many books it was. It was some ridiculous level of books that her goal was to set to read. And then obviously we try to, and she didn't make the goal because it was ridiculous, but we take the time, to talk to our employees and say, what goals do you have set for yourself? They can be in the company. Like, hey, do you want to learn a different skill? Megan says it was 60. It was really ambitious in a year. I can't do that.
I was like, my husband goes through over 80 books a year or something crazy. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's all audio though. So I want to caveat, but he does a lot of listening time.
Yeah. He got me hooked on those, the Star Wars. What series was it? It's I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
The Thrawn series.
Yeah.
Megan's going to type it really quick.
Megan's going to know it. Yeah. I feel like that. I'm like, Megan will know it.
Yeah. Yep. There it is.
Heir to the Empire. That's what it was.
Yeah. That was the one. Anyway, I listened to that. It was forever. Then I had to listen to all three. And I was like, oh my gosh.
He actually won't start a series now unless it's in a trilogy. So
really?
At least a trilogy.
Gosh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Very picky.
I think each one was like 19, 20 plus hours, if not more. There was a lot of
often
listening.
He listens to me.
Yeah.
So he's listening to books all the time. I actually have to check his ears to be like, are there headphones in there? Okay, I can have a conversation.
That'd be funny if you could somehow interject like your own book in between there. So that'd be great. In there when he's listening to, and all of a sudden it's your voice. That'd be phenomenal.
That might be awesome. I might have to figure out how to do that. Or maybe I can just start recording it. I actually thought about that with some of the books I've done. I even thought about making my employee manual an audiobook because I thought more people would read it. But yeah, I think you had a question in here about how many people. I
think that's staff.
I think it is too.
I'm guessing. I'm translating what I would make a typo on. I'm hoping that's the same thing. I have a really small company right now. We're growing very quickly. Yep. We have current 5 full-time. My wife works part-time in the company as well. And then literally here in another week or so, we're bringing on another 5 to 7 new people sales-wise. So we're small. So nice. we can, in all fairness, I have a feeling, I know where you're going with this. We can do that, right? We give that extra attention to our employees because we're small enough. And I think that's a challenge of some of the large companies is how do you achieve that when you reach a certain size, right?
It is hard. So I've had a variety of sizes, but I have less than 25 people. This is my optimal size. It's going to be funny. I had at one point 80.
Holy moly.
It was so many people. Um, and now with the 25 um, spread all over the country with remote work and everything else, but it's more manageable for the culture. But I also think that everyone does their job. Like no one sits up at 11 o'clock at night still working on their job going, I'm never going to get this done. It's very evenly distributed. I think the only person that does that is probably me, not a big shocker. But I think that is one of the balances when it was 80 people. As an owner, I spent all my time managing the problems of people, if that makes any sense.
No, I remember you telling me about this
I
when I
I'm telling
first
you, I had an
started
HR person too,
the
and I
company.
still had to spend so much time doing that.
Yeah, and that's it. Really is. Well, I don't know. I guess at 80 people, I cannot speak. I've not had a company that large before. I've managed a lot of people, but I've not had to, worry about. It's different when I'm managing working for someone else because it's ultimately not my money.
Right?
But now that I own a company, I'm like, oh, it's my money.
It is, and it
uh,
feels so different when it
It
is.
does. It does. And I'm not trying to, for those of you who've not owned a company, we're not trying to sound like, oh, it's our money. No, you're very cautious because it's limited. Anything I
Yeah.
spend, I look at it and I go, number one, is this going to impact, or is it going to impact down the road my ability to make payroll? Right. That's the very first thing I think. Can I make sure I continually pay my staff? Because they are
Hmm.
always my first concern.
And they get paid first
That's right.
every time.
Exactly. There are many times, and I still don't. I have employees that make more money than me, and I own the company
Yeah.
because obviously we're making sure they're taken care of because they're the ones really supporting it. Um, and and so don't take me wrong when I say it's my money. No, it's hey, we got to make sure it's allocated appropriately. Is this the best investment we're making? Is this the proper decision? Because I've made mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes and painful mistakes for money. And then you're like, oh man, if we could have that money back, I would do this with it instead.
Yeah.
Um,
Because it's no one invested in my company ever. So anytime we've had a
right.
loss, that's me. That's
Yep.
me. That's my family that took that loss. That's me not getting paid or whatever. And I'm in a tech company. It goes up, it goes down, it goes
Mhm.
sideways, it goes in between.
Yep.
It can do loop de loops. It's different every time. But I care more about not only my staff, but I also care about my customer more because each sale to me, it means something. I don't know if
Right.
that makes any sense.
No, well, it does to me perfectly to me. Every sale, I'm like, yes, rocket. Um,
I'm appreciative of it. Like, I'm like, thank you. I appreciate you doing this, and I'm going to do my best to support you. They don't know it. They started a relationship with me, and I'm like, don't worry. I'm going to remember. I'm going to remember you. I'm going to remember what your needs are. And I think sometimes when I talk to people, they're shocked I do remember, but it
right.
means something to me.
Yeah. No, 100%, 120%, if there is such a thing, it does because you want to make sure then that person's taken care of and they're just going to have a great experience with your company. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Um, I see another question up here. What is
Yeah.
that?
You got one
How do you make
with.
perfect marketing? Oh my gosh. Sorry. I don't mean to laugh at your question. It's
It's
because
because there's no such thing.
no, there is no such thing. We've tried so many different marketing techniques. We have one down to a science now that we've been using for several years. And we think we do a really good job at it. Right. And it really varies. There's so much um, that it depends in marketing because you can run commercials all day long. That's not marketing,
No.
in my opinion, right? You need to do that, right? It's one of the things that unfortunately we have to do to stay relevant to draw people in. But if you ever see an ad from my company or even Amber's company, really, we don't run ads or marketing to a product. We
No.
always run ads to a free service or free information that we're doing, either something like this, like the podcast, where we'll answer questions, give free information away, to a
Sure.
webinar where we're teaching you something, how to do it, how to practically do it, giving you blueprints. Like, here's how we did it in our business. Here's how we did it. We did this. We'll market that stuff because what we want to do here then is ultimately build trust to you that we do know what we're talking about in our companies. and that you will eventually do business with us because of that trust has been built.
Right.
I think, and I know you're in agreement. We've had this conversation a bunch of times. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we've had this conversation about how we're flooded with marketing materials every day and different companies, different ads, and we've become immune to it. Really, people.
Yeah, you just kind of zone out of it because you're like, oh, one more thing, one more whatever. But I think genuineness totally comes through. I joke,
Mhm.
as a business owner, I actually probably spend almost as much time in a tech company working on marketing as I do reviewing the technology, setting roadmaps, that type of thing, which is our primary product, because they're so intertwined. I kind of look at it, you're going to laugh, I'm using a math word, a dodecahedron of a process, because it's got so many sides to it, and I constantly have to see how this one is impacting this one and going over here. It's a brain bender. I think marketing's a hard brain bender.
It is. It's challenging because you're trying to. Obviously, the end goal is to sell something, right? To boost your company up, to make sales. But
Yeah.
I don't. I always envision and again, if there's anyone that sells cars here, I'm sorry in advance. I don't mean anything personal, but it's like a stereotypical Vegas style. Let's put it that way. Used car salesmen, their shirts hanging open with the gold chain necklaces, those types of salespeople. I don't ever want to have us or any of our clients be represented that way, because I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't
I
either. I think you should care about every sale the same way. It doesn't matter what size it is.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. 100%, for sure. Miss Dixie saying that,
There's
she used to do payroll, HR, hiring, OSHA. Oh, OSHA. Yay.
Yeah, well, fun. No, and I think Miss Dixie, I mean, the fact that she worked for her father's business, it's it's a sign. So there's this whole genetic marker that entrepreneurs have,
Mhm.
that's been traced. It's been this whole thing, and I think of it, and I was like, oh, really? And then I realized I actually grew up in my grandfather's bakery. He immigrated to the United States and literally worked his way across country from coming in New York, and then he ended up in Illinois, and then he got a little further and a little further, and he ended up back in Utah. And he taught himself English as he moved across country because he spoke only Switzerdeutsch. And I sat at that counter in the front of the house. There was like a spot next to the cash register that literally was my width. And that's where I sat for daycare every day. I watched my grandmother work the front of the house, customer interaction, presentation, branding, all those things that we talk about now. I watched her do
Mhm.
it just with the bakery. And in the back of the house, I saw the production. I had a seat next to the bench because every big bakery has a gargantuan like island, which is where you work the doughs and things.
Yeah.
But I watched them do that. My mom was the cake decorator and the bookkeeper. I truly saw that American dream happen. And it inspired me to want to own my own business one day and be willing to take those risks. It's a genetic marker. Somewhere it's in your history as well,
You know,
because
all of the
that's
years
how
I've
we grow
known you,
America. That's how
I
America's gone.
I never knew this story about you. That is
Yeah,
an awesome story. That explains your love for baking.
it does. I actually, in my new house that I was super happy to get into, I
Uh-huh.
built a bakery in it, which
No
people will probably think is crazy.
kidding.
But on the wall in my bakery, I have the aprons of my grandparents who have passed, because I believe that food is something that brings us all together and we care about it. We have company meetings now where we just talk about food, because most of us cook or we barbecue, we have our rubs or whatever, because it's a universal thing. And, but it inspired me. My grandparents made a difference feeding people. There was never a day that they had someone come in that they could not afford that loaf of bread and they were like, oh, I can't take that this week. They would give them the loaf of bread. It's like because feeding their family was more important so their kids could take lunch to school or whatever it may be. And I look at that the same way, even with what I'm doing now. I sadly have never turned down someone that had a real need. It's probably cost me, but at the end of the day, I know I sleep well.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. You've said like several things in there that just caught my attention. Anyway, the aprons that you had mentioned, holy
Yeah.
cow, that's awesome. I didn't know that either. That is such a great thing. Just phenomenal. And you have those like in your kitchen now?
I have them hanging in my bakery.
On your bakery. Well, some people call it a kitchen. You call it a
I,
bakery.
I literally have two kitchens because one is
What?
just for dedicated bakery. Yeah, it has a sign on the wall that says the bakery. I have just mixers. I have separate ovens. I have a commercial rack in there. When I made Thanksgiving, it was 13 pies. I'm like separate pies,
That's right.
not counting cold ones. Yeah,
I
I
do
was big.
see you posting on Instagram, Facebook often about the about what things that you bake. So I'm very jealous about that. Those are
Yeah.
very delicious looking things. Now you have you have a bakery to do that. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
no, it's a whole thing. Every time I've done PFIC in person, I typically would hand make something. I would bake people. I make my own jam. You know, I'm such a weirdo, but I invent ways to let my brain relax from technology, and it usually involves food. That or
I,
chopping things down like
I
trees.
I'm on board for food. I don't know. Has anyone in here hate food? The idea
I
of
don't.
that?
I don't think people hate food
No,
anymore.
I don't think so. But Eric's talking about a couple different podcasts that you guys should maybe check out. There, it's in the chat there. I've sat through, I think most of them. I've popped in on, and every one of them are good. They're great. I blame you, Eric. I'm just going to say it right now. I've become addicted to listening to podcasts. He's always sending me an alert or something saying, check this one out, check this one out. So I do. And they're all great, every one of them. So if you guys get a chance to see those in there, make sure you do check them out. I
This
have
is my new lunchtime
thoroughly
activity is that I listen to podcasts while
really.
I eat my lunch. Yeah, I was like I never did it before and I thought it was a cool thing to do cuz I work remote and so I'm like, "Hey, this is a good way to see what other people are saying." It's kind of like lunch conversation to listen to a podcast. No
Yeah,
conversation part, but
no, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And again, I listen to several. I listen to one when I first wake up. Now I'm Eastern time. You're Eastern time as well. No, you're Central time now.
I work Eastern time, but I live Central time cuz I'm a
Okay,
weirdo.
right. I'm still not used to it because you moved from East Coast now to Central ish.
It's Central-ish.
Time.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
literally right over the line.
I say yeah.
I know. I
You're right
saw
there.
some of his other recommendations in there. I know Amber May. I love just who doesn't love another Amber,
Yeah,
but she's
right.
fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I think I've listened to most of these at as well as the Paulson Anderson. No, some of these I haven't seen, so I'm going to make sure I keep a copy of this to go and look at. But no, Eric's good people to know. If you're interested in podcasts, he will know where to find a
Yeah,
great
I
one.
will. I will check out some of these other ones too.
Okay. So, do you have one piece of advice for either an employee or an employer of about culture in corporations or in just companies or even small businesses? Period. Let's just talk about if you have to go to work, anything about culture.
I think the big culture thing that is true for both employers and employees is to genuinely show you care. There is a difference between amazing performance and getting things done and showing you care. And that gets noticed. I know that's one of those, like, it sounds a little sappy and things, but putting those extra steps in that show you care about the company, care about who's in charge, whatever it may be, care about the customer, all of those things, they get noticed. I think they shine greater than any finished project could ever shine. I know it was
I
such a sap there, but
No, I cannot agree more. And actually, I want to elaborate on, it, but I'm not going to because I know we've been going an hour now, and I want to keep these
oh,
down an hour. Actually, they were supposed to be 20 minutes, but
ooh, whoops.
it's just because we banter well, is what it
We do
is.
banter well.
Every time you're on the YouTube channel as well, we I think we go over the hour there. So, and it's not like we have a time slot that we have to abide by. We can go over
There's
an
no
hour.
one out there that's going to like yell at us and be like, cut it down, people.
No, right? We're not going to get the sign from the producer, right? To
True.
cut it off.
That's Megan.
That's right. I don't. Did Megan leave us? No, she's still here. Hey, look at that, Megan. She's still here. She's bared with us for this entire time. But that what you hit on there is the most important thing, and again, my personal beliefs. Obviously, some of the people in the room know where I stand morally, politically, all that other stuff. But I think we have lost this as a society to treat each other just with basic human respect, no matter what your
Agreed.
opinion is on anything that you have in the world. It's just we need to treat each other like humans and not forget that, hey, there are just because you don't agree with someone's opinion, just because you have a different thought or way thing, you should still care about them as a person, right?
Yep.
And
100%.
that's what makes our world awesome, is differencing in opinions. It's just like in business, it's sometimes competition, right? That helps business innovate and drive faster and harder. Same thing with difference of opinion. Is we can't forget they're humans. And I have some my neighbor who recently passed. He was on one side of the political spectrum. I was on the other. We would talk every day, and we could have actual, real conversations about it, is because I respected things that he was talking about. I don't want to make obviously political, but what I'm saying here is that is because I cared about him as a person, and that's I was open to things that he had to say. And if we would just maintain that in workplace, day to day life, I think that would make everything a heck of a lot better. There, I added to the sappiness of it, Amber.
You did. That's okay. I think it's the reason that you run a small business and your staff enjoys working for you. It has to do with that very thing.
Yeah, no, I think so. I hope so. And I hope that's the reason they all hang out. Oh, Megan says Megan's actually working.
Megan's like, I have left. I'm no longer producing this podcast. Goodbye.
She's multitasking. Yeah. So this was kind of
a pleasure.
I want to thank everybody, including you, Amber, for literally. We were talking yesterday. We had our a meeting, right? We sat in meetings every 2 weeks. Yeah, it's every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I've been wanting to do a live podcast for some time now, and I just haven't actually got around to doing it. And you're like, let's do it. I say, well, okay. When do you want to? I'm looking at my calendar. She's like, tomorrow. I'm like, okay, I guess let's just do it and see what happens. And sure enough, here we are. And it happened. I went pretty well. We got some slight hiccups in it, and we're learning as we go. We have some people, awesome people.
Absolutely. I will join via the web next time, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. Eric would know best. What's the best way, Eric, for a guest on the show to join so the conversations go well and things like that? He's going to have the best advice here, because obviously that group I was telling you about that I was asking a lot of questions to, they were just giving me tons of information, and I loved it. And there we go. So hopefully he's got to hold his tongue to maintain unity. Eric, your opinion is yours, my friend, always. There we go. So to join Podbean's, no, I like is an iPhone or a web interface.
Well, that's never going to happen for me. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Android. Ooh, I feel somehow dirty saying that out loud.
Oh, whatever.
Anyway, it's great. But all the people here, I've seen most of these people at one point or another. Not our Russian friends. We now have a Russian friend here as well that hung out clear from Russia. Appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's really late there. So
yes,
kudos for your pre-bed chat.
Yeah. But tomorrow we're going to try something new, and I'm debating. Yeah, we're open. I'll open it to everyone. So what we're going to do is we have some trivia software that we use here for marketing purposes. And we're going to test this thing out, because what I wanted to do, because we used to test this out. We did this on YouTube, Amber. You've been on the show.
Oh, yes.
The YouTube channel. And it's fun. Oh my gosh. The trivia is so much fun. But it's all off your phone. You scan literally a QR code, and then boom, you're in the game, and everything's from your phone. But the phone,
it's crazy fun.
It's instantaneous. I mean, when a question comes, it's like, boom, you're answering it instantaneous, and it's a software, and you can interact and have fun. But the problem we ran into was the delay in YouTube. It's, even though it says live and low latency,
it's really not.
It's like 8 to 15 seconds. And that's great if you're trying to bleep out someone saying something, but in a trivia environment, not so great. So
especially because the trivia, it matters if you answer the fastest as well, because no one told me that. And it changed my score. And I was like, okay, I'm no longer multitasking. I'm now just playing trivia.
To give you guys a little context of Amber's salty tone in her voice.
Yeah.
I'm wiping tears out of my eyes laughing here. We did trivia, and she's like, she loves trivia. She's
I love trivia.
a master at trivia. and we were running the trivia, and she did not win. Let's put it that way. And this has been over a year ago. This has probably been
Oh yeah, I'm holding on to it. This is the ginger side of me. I'm holding on to this one.
Right. So tomorrow it's going to be 10 o'clock. I think 10 o'clock is what we have it set for right now.
Yeah.
And we're going to test this new platform. Again, it's going to be just very casual with the equipment. And just to test, we're checking for latency. If you guys want to play and come on and have fun, we're going to do it tomorrow. That's 10 a.m. Eastern. I know some of you guys are Western or Western. Yeah, no,
Western.
Pacific and Mountain Time.
Central.
I just know where some of you guys are at from
Eastern
other shows.
European time.
Yeah. Yeah. And what, I don't even know what time zone Russia's in for that.
I think it's like, I think it's in 2 time zones. It's a fairly large country.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of land mass. Yeah. But we're going to test it out. You'll see us, we'll go live. I don't know if it'll be under the Basement Marketer logo or not, but we're going to go live on it. We'll keep you guys posted. We'll send some invites out if you guys are interested in that. And again, it's just gonna be real casual and just testing it to see how the system works. I'm looking forward to it.
I don't think Russia has switched over to daylight savings yet. They do it later in the month. So I think it's only 10. Mm-hmm. They do it the world goes to daylight savings at different times. It's so messed up. Let's just get rid of all these changes. Sorry, that was my one political thing. I'm tired of changing time zones. It screws up my dogs. There we go.
I don't know if that's really political or quit taking.
I don't even know anymore. I'm just tired of doing it.
Quit taking an hour of sleep from me. I only know what time it is in Sydney because we have clients over there, and it's like 5 a.m. tomorrow. I'm looking at it.
I agree. It is a common sense thing. Just stop changing it. Let's just stay this way forever. We're good.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know. I'm looking at Russia on the map here. I don't know. Anyway, it's a question I don't need to answer. It's not in my personal brain. But hey, thank you so much for hanging out with us, Amber. And I think the first episode was really good.
I would be happy to come back. It's a lot of fun.
We can just come on and banter anytime. I love it. It's
absolutely
great. It's a lot of fun. It takes the stress away knowing that now I got to go back and create some sales scripts and things like that.
It is. It's a nice pause. Yeah. I enjoy it.
No, for sure. And I want to thank all of you guys. Thank you, Eric, number one, for popping in and inviting a bunch of folks. And to thank everyone else who came and showed up, Miss Dixie, Crash, guys I've seen in the other podcasts as well. I really appreciate it. Again, this was our very first one that we went live on. We did a recorded one prior. But so thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. And we're going to go live again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Again, this is just a test. If you guys want to hang out for it, you're welcome to do so. But I have intro and outro music like I do on
Yes, because that's so your radio side of life right there.
It is. Those of you who don't know, my past life, I was a radio guy, but it's been like a long time ago. But so with that, Amber, again, thank you. If you guys ever need, and I know that it's not the topic at hand, ever need digital investigation services at all, go check out Paraben Corporation.
Thank you.
It's paraben.com. I know because we host the website.
Yes, you do.
So it's a great website, I'm saying. And you can learn all about Amber and her company over there. If you guys ever have marketing questions, pop in. We're going to do the Basement Marketer more often than not. And wait, got to do the outro music. There we go. And just come and hang out. We're going to answer questions about business, sales, marketing tips and tricks of how you can market yourself and some techniques that may or may not necessarily work for you. Either way, again, thanks for hanging out. Amber, thank you so much. I appreciate it.